Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for the story. So we're continuing our X-Men run. We are using classic X-Men for a few till the end of the Dark Phoenix saga. Then the supplemental materials will end, and then we'll just be using regular X-Men. So, classic X-Men is how I discovered a lot of these older stories, and I was when it first came out, that was my biggest introduction. So, classic X-Men came out around the time of the Mutant Massacre, which is actually when I started to get into X-Men. So I didn't know much from X-Men. There was no internet, there was no Google, there was nothing. I had no idea. And Marvel started releasing classic X-Men, and I started scooping them up right from the beginning. So classic X-Men number 29, I do have a playlist, started with number 1. And we got Arcade. This is a great cover. I hate Arcade. It is these particular issues, Karen Doyer, it does the cover here. These particular issues are not my favorite because I just find this character obnoxious. So not a big fan of Arcade. I don't know what else to say. So, this of course covers X-Men 123, and this is the original cover that came in a piece that kind of tells you a little bit about the issue. This is from this little yellow or orangish thing is from the volume. They reprinted Classic X-Men, but with only the supplemental materials. And so they would tell you what the issue was because the issue wasn't included in it because you had to go buy like something else if you wanted it. So I do own every issue of Classic X-Men all the way up till after the Dark Phoenix saga. Then I kind of stopped because I wasn't interested in Dave Cockrum, but then I picked it up again when Paul Smith and John Romita Jr. took it, and then I dropped it once I was all caught up. So most of my X-Men run is because of classic X-Men, and I read these titles so much they're just destroyed. So this classic X-Men number 29 is a backup story set slightly in the relative future, kind of moving along. Further examines Colossus' homesickness and ongoing doubts about his place with the X-Men. So, Chris Claremont was really good at creating these supplemental materials, which is why I really, really enjoy showing you the classic X-Men. This is what the bigger version of the cover will look like. John Byrne does the cover. Dave Cockrum for the most part. Oh, Terry Austin, actually, not even John Byrne. John Byrne has hardly done any covers. I think he's done 2. Dave Cockrum has done the vast majority. And then looks like Terry Austin gets a 1 here. So, and so this would have been in the front part. Classic X-Men for the most part was run without ads until the end of the Dark Phoenix saga. After that, it's a straight reprint, so they start adding ads. So, so the credits on the first one, and then the credits on the second one. Motherland is Chris Claremont writing. He's written most of those backup stories, a few by Anna Nocenti, and I think Tom Orzechowski did 1. So you can see here, this is from the frontispiece with Colossus here. A really good one. So, all right, listen, stop me if you heard this, if you heard it, but this one will kill you. And so uh, Claremont, John Byrne, and Terry Austin. So here is Spider-Man. This is of course pre Todd McFarlane, so it's just this little web here. So Spider-Man says, typical, I'm heading for a date with Sissy Ironwood, a gorgeous gal who really digs me, and I feel miserable. I wanted tonight to be special, first class, all the way. But after paying my income taxes yesterday, about all I can afford is a Big Mac and fries. Ugh, that is terrible because a Big Mac and fries back then was probably like $1.50. It was $3 when I was in college, and now they're like $15. So, God, inflation sucks. And the fact that a poor schmo like Peter Parker has to pay taxes, man, oh man. So, Spider-Man's flying through here, or flying through, webbing here. Well, I guess it's no great tragedy. Sissy knows I'm not Mr. Moneyback. She'll understand. Besides, there's lots to do in Greenwich Village, even if you're broke. Hey, that couple down there, I know them. It's Colleen Wing and Scott Summers, a.k.a. Cyclops. I didn't know they were an item. And so Colleen is like, penny for your thoughts, Scott. Ugh, I hate that line, but it's all right. I was thinking about Jean's folks. I've been trying to reach them since the X-Men returned to the States, but so far, no luck. And so Spider-Man shows up and says, hiya, true believers, long time no see. And these guys are like, whoa. Oh my God, Colleen says, well, hello, I haven't seen you since that fracas with the Steel Serpent, which was Marvel Team Up 64. And Cyclops says, and I haven't seen since the X-Men faced the so-called Lords of Light and Darkness, which we did not cover. Marvel Team Up Annual #1. I did not cover it, so. And Cyclops says, what's new, Spider-Man? And he says, not much. I was just passing by, and I figured I'd drop down and say hello. How are Misty Knight and Iron Fist? They're still, and meeting an item. And Colleen says passionately, far out. Oops, I'm late. Gotta be going, troops. Take care. So long, says Colleen, and everybody. You can see everybody, even though they're colored the same, to draw your attention this way, which is a lot of times why they do those things. But why do I mean so? All right, so here comes Spider-Man, and he says he's not aware of the sanitation truck. So that tells us the sanitation truck is important. And so you can see this A here. He says Spider-Man, and the guy says the boss would would give his soul to get his hands on that wall crawler again. But there's no time to chase after him now. And so we continue here with Cyclops speaking. You know, Colleen, you and Jean are the only girls I've ever dated. Growing up in the state orphanage makes for a lousy social life. I hated that place. The only thing there that were truly yours were your own thoughts. I've never told anyone this, not even Jean, but and then he goes, hey, and all of a sudden this thing goes, flang. This is very important, the flang. And so the guy says, mission accomplished, target 1 secured, proceeding to target 2. And not far away, Spider-Man goes, Saflang? Where have I heard that, Biff? And then he goes, arcade. So he says, I thought that garbage truck looked familiar. It must be the one Arcade used to capture Captain Britain and me in Marvel Team Up 65, which I believe we will be getting to. I started covering the Marvel Team Up run with Chris Claremont and John Byrne, so I actually will be getting to that one in the future. So be on the lookout for it. That weird sound means he's probably grabbed whoever he's after, and I have a nasty feeling I know who it is. As Spider-Man heads down. Scott and Colleen, they're gone. No sign of the truck either. Everything's disappeared into thin air except for Colleen's scarf. This looks bad. Arcade could be after the X-Men, Iron Fist, any number of people. I'll have to take I'll take time out for a quick search. Then I better start making phone calls. I've got a lot of folks to warn, saying Spider-Man. It's kind of seeing this mass like this because you see now other artists, especially since after Todd McFarlane, really go down and put a lot of webbing on him. So now we're in the Lincoln Center, and so we got Nightcrawler, Colossus, and then their dates here. And this lady says, "I'm Miss Locke. Please follow me." Of course, we all know who she is. "I'm afraid that Professor Xavier's private box is being refurbished, but the director hopes this one will serve as well." A private box? Wow. So they get there, and Colossus goes, "Kurt, the door. Hey, what's in this?" And we're in some kind of steel box. And so, "Teleport out here, Kurt. I'll try to smash egg. Gas. Turning to Colossus, Peter. Quickly, before the gas takes. And so, Dragon Lady to Pinball Wizard. Mission accomplished. Targets 3 and 4 secured. Take them away. Your wish is my command. Toots toodle-doo." So, and so, the Japanese consulate. "Thank you for dinner, Mariko. I can't remember when I've enjoyed a meal more." "I'm glad, Logan-san. May I see you again?" And she says, "Yes, I hope so soon." And so Wolverine's walking around, says, "Far flaming out. The more I see Mariko, the more I want to see her. She's like no woman I've ever known. Cripes, she reaches part of my skull I never knew existed." And so for Jean Grey, because Chris Claremont makes a point to tell us stories over and over and over about how much Wolverine loves Jean Grey. So this guy says, "Got a light, pal?" He says, "Sure. Nice night, you know?" And Wolverine says, "It'll do." Of course, you see the A for arcade here. Thing is, what comes next? I love the scream tone here being used. "Living day by day was fine for broads like Kraken Rosa or maybe even Jean Grey, but not Mariko Yoshida." So, and of course, here comes the garbage truck right behind Wolverine. Actually, I really do enjoy this panel here. So, and so we are at the X Mansion, and the phone is ringing, and looks like it is waking up Banshee. And so he's gonna get up to go answer him, but then is shot in the back by this dart, which we can see by the hand that we know who it is. Again, why? I don't know. You know, I'm gonna get on my little tangent. I apologize. There are a lot of dumb villains out there. So I don't know why it is about arcade that it just bugs me. When I first read this story, as I mentioned, Classic X-Men was the first time I read this story. I read it in '88 when this came out, and I was 14. I just thought he was the dumbest villain ever. I still, I don't know. To this day, I really care not. He will appear again in another issue of X-Men, and then when we end up covering Chris Claremont's run in Excalibur, but luckily we don't have to deal too much with stupid arcade. So, all right. So Storm was taking a shower and she's yelling because nobody's answering the phone. So she's gonna go get it, but of course Arcade is waiting for her and shoots her in the back, and it's like, hello, is this the Xavier mansion? Turns out it's Spider-Man calling, and he says, "Hey, Arcade is gunning after the X-Men." And of course it was Arcade who answered the phone. He says, "You got it, Wallcrawler. I'm gunning for the X-Men. Trouble is, your warning comes a wee bit too late," he says. "And when I'm done with them, Spidey, I'm coming back after you. Bye now." And of course, no, and he breaks the phone booth, because phone booth was how people had to make calls, and you paid a quarter for local. Otherwise, you had to pay a quarter per minute for long distance. So, all right. So Cyclops is waking up. He's back in uniform. He wonders about Colleen. He remembers the thing, and then here are all the X-Men. So, and notice everybody's on uniform again. So, and God, this is so... All right. I'm gonna continue here before I go on a tangent and explain why I think this guy is so stupid and dumb. But all right, Miss Locke says they're all awake. Arcade. Thank you, Miss Locke. Systems updates. Miss Chambers. All readings nominal. You can start whenever you're ready. My friend, that's just what I wanted to hear, says Arcade. And so he presses the oh my goodness gracious, pinball machine. He presses the lever for the pinball machine. And he says, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, Arcade proudly welcomes you to Murder World, where nobody ever survives. Now, I know some people are going to say the Joker's not dumb. The Joker might be the greatest villain ever created. Arcade is dumb. The Joker is not. So, just in case there's anybody out there listening to this that goes, well, he's kind of like the Joker. No, he is not. So, and so the pinball keeps going in here. Like, who the hell would do all these? This is the dumbest. Oh, I am so sorry. I don't want to ruin the experience for you, but Arcade just, all right. And so we're off and running, folks. So far, I'm not impressed. When I tussled with Spider-Man, he broke free of his pinball. The game's still young, but the X-Men don't. But if the X-Men don't start getting their act together, it's gonna be over before it's begun. So, the ball hits, and Cyclops ends up coming out. Says, not the gentlest of landings, but maybe that's just what I needed. The mixture of fear and pain cleared all the cobwebs out of my head. I'm still not sure what's going on here, but at least now I think I've got an even chance. How do you do, Cyclops? Welcome to my lady or the tiger room. You have 3 doors. One's a way out. The other 2 lead to horrible deaths. The choice is yours. And Cyclops says, thanks. My pleasure. And just to give you an incentive to make up your mind, you should know that there's a trigger relay connecting the door with the hydraulic ramp. The second you open a door or blast it with your I-beams, that moving wall will slam the rest of the way. Will slam the rest of the way across the room. Sorry. That gives you 1 play. Make it count, says Arcade. Of course, he doesn't realize that behind each door is a concrete wall. Sure, there's a way out, but out of that trap, but he won't find it by trusting me. Now for Colossus, he ends up going into his armored form, and so someone in Russian calls him out. Says, "Be seated. Greetings, young comrade. I trust you're quite comfortable. We will be here quite a while. Who are you? How do you know my name? I know all about you, Colossus. I'm Colonel Alexei Vazhin of the KGB Committee for State Security. You are here. Oh my God, Pyotr I'm so sorry, Nikolaevich, to answer charges that you are a traitor." And he says, "What, comrade? Those lights, they are so bright, I cannot bear them." He says, "Oh, this sudden lack of cooperation, comrade, makes me wonder if perhaps the charges are true. They are lies. I am no traitor. Then you have nothing to fear from me or the lights. And yet, what loyal son of Mother Russia offers his services and his superhero powers to a team based in the United States?" Of course, Colossus has no answer. Very Nick Fury with the one eye being covered in darkness here. So, all right, here comes Wolverine. And of course, he's in a fun house with different versions of him. And of course, they all come out to give him a tussle. And so Arcade laughs like the idiot that he is. I'm sorry again. All right. And so we get Nightcrawler, and he goes, "Now at least I can see where I am. Not that it does much good." So it looks like he's at the bottom of something. And so we got these 2 cars here with rotary. I don't know what those blades are called. Razor blade. I don't know. Anyway, so they're coming at him, but no matter where he goes to, they keep going. So, and then we got Banshee here, who, by the way, is injured, and he cannot use his powers. So, of course, these Nazi airplanes are kind of bombing him, and he's kind of with no power. So, all right. Arcade says, bye, Banshee. I'll come back to you in a bit. Assuming, of course, you're still alive. Meantime, I've one more fish to fry. I figure I'd be saving the best for last, Storm. And so, everything happening so fast. I heard that dart drug. The walls, they're so close. It's like a steel box. What's the matter, sweet? Have we frightened you? Says Arcade. And, of course, Storm says that voice again. Could it be your quarters? A touch of claustrophobia, perhaps? Well, we can improve that. And she realizes the floor, it's some kind of huge trap door. I'm still too weak. I had no choice, no chance to react to that door. There's a light here. It's so dim, I can see it. What? I'm falling. Some kind of negative air effect is canceling out my ability to glide the winds. I'm trying to create enough trap, but something is fighting me, she says. Doesn't feel like a natural force. Must be some artificial mechanism. I mustn't let it pull me below the water. I have to find that trapdoor and try to blast my way out. Here it is. But of course, when she does that, she gets electrocuted. So, alright. Can't wait much longer to make up my mind. But I also can't shake my instinctive distrust of this Arcade character. Even if he's telling the truth about these doors, even if I get lucky and pick the right one, I just be playing his game by his rules. I'll bet my only chance is to break those rules, do the unexpected, starting right now, and he shoots his optic blast. But notice he's not aiming it neither at the doors, he's sideways, so he's aiming it at one of the walls. So Wolverine fights these constructs, and turns out he was right. Here is Cyclops and Wolverine, and suddenly he's punched by Colossus, and he goes, that's not one of his robots, it's really Colossus. And he says, no longer am I the X-Men Colossus, a traitor to his motherland and his people. I'm now the proletarian worker hero of the Soviet Union, and my first mission is to smash the X-Men. And of course, Arcade is laughing while all the girlfriends are right here. Enjoying yourselves, because I'm having the time of my life. You see, before my brainwashing wears off, I figure Colossus will kill the X-Men, or they'll be forced to kill him. Either way, they lose, and Arcade wins. And next issue, thank God, only one more issue with Arcade. He only laughs when I hurt. So, alright. So this ends this tale, but of course this is classic X-Men, so we have a backup tale. And so Storm brings, don't tell me she flew him. She actually flew him all the way through in that cold weather. This is here following a jet stream, and has returned Peter back to Russia. And Chris Claremont loves to add dialogue. By the way, this is not drawn by John Bolton. He will return, but it looks like he has done every backup story continually except this one. So she offers to stay with him, but he says no. He's been away from the motherland for so long. I want to regain my feel for it before reaching home. So she gives him a kiss and leaves. And he wonders if she truly understands that the signal may never come because Peter's homesick. So he's going into the homestead, and here's Ileana, who will begin the New Mutants. And I think he calls her Little Snowflake. Yep. And so here comes mom and dad. The mom, I love it here. Don't they have food in the West? Isn't there enough for a growing boy to eat? You're positively skin and bones. He says, there is plenty, mother. I am the same to look at what I left. And so Ileana says, did you draw these? And he goes, yes, I did. These are my comrades, the X-Men. So he says it's easier for him to draw than for him to write. So these are all pictures. You can see the Savage Land and the Shi'ar, and of course we got the X-Men here. So the dad doesn't quite believe what he sees and thinks it's like sci-fi. So the dad is like, you know how persuasive Professor X has. Colossus wants to take a stroll around the collective, look up old friends, especially Sasha. So yes, well, Eliana, perhaps it's best to take your brother with him. And turns out, come on, Peter, I'll show you. And turns out that they're dead. She goes, one of them, age 19, killed in action in Afghanistan. So many crosses by the Rodina, so many friends. And she says, don't cry, Peter. Don't be sad. Because I'll always be here to protect you, to laugh. Since when did my little snowflake of a sister turn herself into Siberian tigress? So, he wonders if she could also be a mutant, which she is. And so this guy here crashes this truck, and Peter turns into Colossus, and he moves it to try and make sure nobody gets hurt. So they all applaud and thank him, and everybody's happy. But this guy's like, no such luck, traitor. And this is one of his friends, Alyosha. And this guy's like, this isn't time and place, but he's not having none of it. And so he falls. Colossus is going to help him up and says, take your hand, I can manage on my own, especially without the likes of you. Alyosha, that's not fair. What did Peter do with that truck? Wasn't an act of a coward. You're his sister, Ileana. It's your duty to defend him, just as it is mine to demand to know. Where was he when the Rodina needed him? All of us who were called to serve, we did our duty, we fought, and too many died, but our comrade Colossus, he was nowhere to be found. We could have used your strength, Peter, taken shelter behind your armored firm. With you behind us, we might have come home, alive and whole. So, of course, Peter is sad, and they put him in handcuffs. And so the KGB is going to come for him. So they all, like I said, they feel betrayed that he had left. So it's the same number, this Vagine. And so we put him in this car here. And take off the cuffs. So the guy says, well, Colossus says, what's next? And the guy says, I guess it's up to you. If you stay, then we have to make this official. Essentially, they're telling him go away because he can't even join the army because there's a treaty about using superpowers with the Americans, which there'd be no such thing. They'd be like the first ones to put it in. So he basically says either A, you come work for them, or go back and work with the X-Men. So, and we all know what he's eventually going to do. So Peter thinks that they'll think him a deserter, a traitor, but he's really a hero. So thus we end our story here. It was a bit touching here, but just kind of like I said, filling up with exposition. That's what classic X-Men does best. So, and then this would have been the back cover, which John Bolton did. So, John Bolton did the back cover, which is nice. All right, Classic X-Men number 29 by Chris Claremont, John Byrne, Terry Austin, and June Brigman on the back, on the backup story. So, like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.